Hi, welcome to the SciGem video series. Today we're going to be talking about storage. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the differences between a NAS, or network attached storage, and a SAN, or storage area network. The cost of these devices has been coming down in recent years, and a lot more customers are now starting to investigate storage outside of just a regular server. And one of the first questions they have is, I understand there are these different types of devices. Some are called NAS, some are called SAN. What are they? Why would I want to use one or the other? What do they mean, and how are they applicable to my organization? So we're going to delve into that a little bit today. So first, let's talk a little bit more about the acronyms, what they mean, and some more specifics on these devices. So the first is NAS, N-A-S. A NAS stands for Network Attached Storage, and simply, it's a file server. The other acronym is SAN, Storage Area Network. And one way to think about the differences between the two is how the server actually sees the storage on the device. So here's our server over here. Here's our server. And each of these devices is filled with hard drives and has hard drives in them. So if my server is accessing NAS storage, it would see it as a share. So for example, it may, to my server, if I wanted to access it, I would need to map a drive. I would say something like / NAS share name. Now if I wanted to access storage on the SAN, it would show up as an actual drive on my system. So if I dedicated a disk to my server on my SAN, it may look like this. It may show up as a D drive, and that's storage on my SAN. So that seems simple enough, but what are some more differences? Really, a SAN is simply a file server. So why would someone use a NAS device? Well, a NAS device it's dedicated specifically to serving files. So its hardware is optimized. It may have more network connections. Its operating system is slimmed down so that it's only dedicated to serving files and not performing other functions. People use these devices to store large amounts of files accessible to many people from their organization that may need access from their workstations as well as servers to that storage. It's used for a place for parking backup data. It can also be used as a place for different platforms to put their data in. Perhaps, a Linux box, a Windows box, and a Macintosh may all need to share their data centrally. You could use a NAS device to do something like that. Now, a SAN device is it's actually quite a bit different. Typically with the NAS device, we're talking about file level, we're talking about the file, and a SAN, we're talking about block level. The SAN isn't as interested in the individual files, all it cares about is blocks. Also, unlike a NAS device where maybe we want multiple workstations to be able to hit that data, typically with a SAN, we're talking about our servers accessing specific parts of the SAN storage. So maybe here we've got several servers, and they're going to connect into the SAN, but within the SAN it's got drives, and we're going to dedicate specific pieces of the SAN to each of the individual servers. So this is called dedicated access. Only this server can only access this specific portion of the SAN. And technically these are called LUNs. These are called logical unit numbers. And this is how the SAN gets divvied up. You can think of this as a virtual hard disk. So why do people do this? Why wouldn't I just stick my storage on my server and be done with it? It would be simple. I would have my server on my storage. Why are people utilizing SANs? What are the first reasons they start to use this? Well, as you start to grow your environment, this is typically what happens. This server I bought, and when I purchased it, I wasn't exactly sure of how much storage this server would need over the next 3 years, so I put 500 gigabytes of storage into it. And on this server, same scenario, I wasn't sure. I put 500 gigs in it. This server, same scenario. I purchased 500 gigs of storage. I wasn't quite sure. Well, you know what? This application isn't used that much. I'm actually only using 100, so I've got 400 unused. Same scenario here, I've got 400 unused. But down here, actually, this application is our document management system. It's growing rapidly, and I'm at 498 gigabytes of storage, and that was in the first 2 months, so it's growing like crazy. I need to add another terabyte quickly. So in this scenario, what I've got is I've got 800 unused gigabytes here, and I've got a need to add another terabyte down to this server. Ugh, what can I do? Well, if it was in a SAN type scenario, these logical or virtual hard drives can be easy to move around. I can take space from one server and dedicate it to another. So it makes it much simpler to move my storage around and not have to buy extra storage down here and then have unused storage up here. So once somebody starts to understand a little bit of the differences between a SAN and an NAS, oftentimes they'll say, you know, what I really need is I need a SAN type device. But I'm a little bit confused about what are the differences. I hear a lot about fiber channel and iSCSI. What are the differences and why would I want to use one versus the other? So the iSCSI or fiber channel is just how you get, it's the protocol used to get to the storage. So over here I've got my SAN with all of its hard drives. I've got my servers over here. But in between, I've got to figure out some way to go from my servers to my storage. And if I've got a network infrastructure in place, I can use what's called iSCSI. So this is my existing network switch I have to tie into my network. And now I can use that same switch that I've been using for network to connect to my storage. And that's, when you use that, it's called iSCSI. It has the advantage of being more affordable, but the performance isn't quite as good as fiber channel. So with iSCSI, the protocol now supports 1 gigabit, fiber channel they're up to 4 gigabits per second, as well as iSCSI having some TCP/IP overhead. Now, the difference though is quite dramatic when it comes in terms of cost. With a fiber channel scenario, here I've got my network switch, but now if I want to do fiber channel, I have to have a second switch. Typically these devices are cheap. I also need to have, with fiber channel, a special dedicated HBA. Sometimes those can be used with iSCSI as well, but with fiber channel it's absolutely mandatory that you have a dedicated card in your server. So the cost of fiber channel can be more, but the performance is better. And that's typically why someone goes with fiber channels. They need that high performance. They have large databases or they're serving lots and lots of users. If you'd like to know more about storage and find out if a NAS or SAN device is appropriate for you, give us a call, 330-668-1660.